Welcome back to Freedom and Ease in Online Business, the go-to podcast for online coaches and service providers ready to ditch burnout, master their money, and build a thriving and profitable business that feels joyful, aligned, and sustainable. And today I have a very special guest. Jen Lang guides people to tune into and align with their inner voice so that their outer voice can shine. Using voice, sound, words, and movement, she works intuitively with the whole person, combining physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual energies so that people can confidently access their inner magic and share their message with the world. She combines her unique cross-modality experience to create a comprehensive experience for each and every client, whether that includes channeled messages, sound healing, Reiki, or a series of energetic or healing support coaching. Clients leave transformed, inspired, and excited, by what their soul has in store for them. Now, Jen has a master's degree in voice performance. She's a Reiki master teacher and a certified magnetic money coach. And she's also a third Dan sensei and black belt in Wado karate. And all of these areas of study inform her work as a sound healer and intuitive channel. So Jen is all about supporting people in developing their own intuitive skill. That's a cornerstone of her work, and it travels hand in hand with each client's natural energetic cycle. And that's why her clients leave feeling more confident, with increased well-being and a sense of peace, both during and, very importantly, after working with Jen. Hello and welcome, Jen. How are you doing?
Thank you so much, Miriam. It's great to be here. I am great. Yeah, I worked a special event last night. I'm a little bit tired, but it was so magical and inspiring, and just creates another wave of energy to continue this conversation on.
Awesome. I'm so excited to have you on the show as one of my very first guests because, this show is all about freedom and ease through alignment and through marrying the magical with the practical. And I know that's something that's really dear to your heart. So maybe just to kick us off, let me ask you a question I want to ask pretty much all of my guests. And that is, what does success truly mean to you beyond just the financial metrics?
Yeah, I was reflecting on this question in preparation for today, and success is it is really meaningful to me in the sense that it's comprehensive. It's all around. It's not just financial. It's health. It's relationships, not just with your spouse or your partner. With family, with friends. It is like home satisfaction. Are you happy where you live? There is that level of, you know, my husband and I moved to the Middle East and basically knew nobody, knew nothing apart from his workplace. And we had a wonderful existence in a small one-bedroom apartment. So, and it was successful. I would say that that experiment of living in the Middle East was successful, even with all of its hardships. So it's comprehensive and not just limited to financial wealth or abundance.
Yeah. And so something you said there made me think that maybe it's about growth and expanding our experience. Would you say?
I think it's a part of it. I
Yeah.
feel like there are people in the world who would say that they are successful and that they don't necessarily want any more growth or expansion. However, that's I would say 9 times out of 10 that's not the case, and that people who consider themselves successful have this drive to make a difference, whether it's in their own lives or someone else's, or for the world, for the greater good. That drive to grow, the drive to learn more, to be more, to gain more wisdom and knowledge and experience is a part of that success signature.
Mm. And one of the things I love about your work is that you really do combine, so many different aspects of who people are, and you're very much that embodiment of having a holistic approach. And what I'd like to talk to you about a little bit more than how you apply it to your clients is, how do you apply it for yourself? How do you, as a woman in business who has all these very spiritual kind of modalities that you work in, how does it manifest for you as a business owner in striking that balance?
Hmm. Yeah, great question. I think it's having being aware, first of all, of where you're putting your energy is a big part of it. So if you're constantly, this was me in my experience early days, I was on the learning curve of being in business. So I was online, I was in Facebook groups, I was, learning, figuring out MailChimp, trying to do a business course and do some networking. And I'm like, okay, what works? And that process of filtering and discarding is definitely a part of the process. Where I find myself now is actually having much stronger boundaries around my time and my energy and what I'm willing to put my time into versus where I'm not willing to. So, I worked with a mentor a few months ago where I was willing to get up at 1 a.m. to attend a 1 hour call for 2 weeks, and that's it. Whereas I will not just get up at 1 a.m. for anybody. I will for you, Miriam, because when your calls and one other, and it's basically learning those energetic boundaries of what is going to be. I don't like the word best bang for your buck because it has kind of weird energy around it, but it really kind of is that is what's going to be for me the best return for my time and energy that doesn't burn me out and doesn't pull me away from my priorities. Well, what my priorities are.
So what I'm hearing, if I'm going to just echo it back to you, is it's about really staying grounded in your energetic alignment and then really strategic with the energy output that you agree to being a part of, right?
Absolutely. And so I have spiritual practices that serve me as the person, and I have, and like nothing gets in the way of those. Nothing, nobody. My husband, my dogs, I'm just like, nope, go away. I'm in the middle of something, go away. And that gives me the centering and the alignment to be able to approach my business with more ease, to actually have better boundaries around my business. And on the days that I miss that practice, I feel more scattered and less centered around decision making, activities, what to focus on. So yeah, it really, they all go hand in hand.
Cool. It really is about, we talk about those non-negotiables, which is something I like to get people to do, get really clear on what are your non-negotiables. And I know that you're a master of having little routines and habits. So what are some of your favorite routines and habits for staying aligned and being effective? Because they're not necessarily the same thing, but they definitely feed off each other, right?
They definitely work in. I mentioned before my morning spiritual practice, which is 20 to 30 minutes, just drawing a couple cards, reflecting on my physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual bodies, each of those bodies, and just being with me on my own. That is a non-negotiable practice. In business, I'm trying to bring more of those practices back in. They definitely went, I'm going to say, more squishy over the past couple of years as I negotiated a health issue. And now it's like, no, it's time to bring them back in. So what I'm experimenting with is both a new end of day review within my business that highlights where I've, the things I've accomplished today, how did it feel? And again, no more than 15 minutes, just very much end of the day. If I don't get it to it that day, I make sure to do it first thing the next morning. And another really big one is actually taking care of my money on a weekly basis, both personal and business. And that habit came out of Magnetic Money. And I've refined that program with a few other goodies thrown in to be like, no, every Monday for me is Money Mondays. And that's when I look at my accounts, I track my net worth, and that helps me stay in alignment so that I'm like, oh, like, look at all the wealth that's in my life. And it's not just monetary. It's like, oh, look at the savings account, it's growing. Look at the net worth amount, it's growing. Look at all the things that we get to do this month. Oh, look, I have money set aside for the holidays. Oh, exciting. So those are the practices I'd say that keep me most centered. And then a monthly review is coming. That's in the process. And a weekly, what Joe Bendel calls the weekly CEO date, which again, I'm trying to navigate sort of how that looks and where I'm fitting that in and molding that for my own needs.
Awesome. Yeah, see, I said you're the master of these routines and habits, and you've always been very, very committed to them, which I find amazing because a lot of people will struggle with maintaining those sorts of habits. So as you were talking, I was there's a couple of things that popped up where I think, oh, might be some yeah buts that pop up for people when they hear you speak. So I'd like to hear your thoughts on it. Number one is like, yeah, but how do I find time to do that? And so if you maybe want to talk about why it's worth spending the time and how do you find the time. And the second one is particularly with the Money Mondays, which I love, Money Mondays. And you're talking about, how exciting it is and how it helps you get in alignment. What would you say to people who maybe don't feel that way when they look at their money just at the moment? So the
Oh,
time thing and why is it worth the effort? And then how do you handle the wobbles when you're looking at your money and how do you change that? So just a couple of quick things
just a
for you.
couple of quick things, just minor details. I
Yes.
will address the money thing's actually easier to address. So I'll talk about that first. Okay. Taking care of your money is a sacred act, and especially for women, it is absolutely essential to make friends with those numbers. I used to be the person who avoided that. I would be like, no, I'm just going to have a longer coffee. I'm just going to have tea a bit longer. Oh, look, I don't have time for my money date. Oh, no. And seriously, just spend the like time, resources, money, work with someone to get over the feelings that you have around your numbers. Because boy, once you make that shift, it can't help go anywhere but up. And we always talk about, oh, I want more money, I want more money. But the actual thing that's stopping you from getting to that place is you. So when you spend the time, I know nobody wants to hear this. It's the really tough one. I'm not, it's like, where's the bottleneck? Well, guess what? You are the bottleneck. So you have to fix that piece and get some support, do some tapping videos online, really, join Magnetic Money, all of the things,
Yeah.
do some hypnotic meditations. But really, once you get over the initial awkwardness and you start to have a system that works for you, it's like gold. It's irreplaceable. So even if
I
my
love
Money
that you
Monday,
say it's sacred. It's a
it's
sacred act.
yeah, it's a sacred act. And even if we're here, it's a holiday Monday. If I'm not working, I will complete that usually by Wednesday that week. I haven't missed a week in almost a year now. So it's really powerful and it's sacred. And taking care of your money is that sacred act because it's taking care of yourself. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, that's the money
And it
question.
and it is that, that building momentum. We talk about I have the magnetic money code with the alignment, the mindset, and the practical side of money. And they do boost and feed each other. And you kind of have to work, you have to kind of nudge all of them to get the ball rolling. And then they all just support and feed off each other. And I have seen always the biggest transformations in people's money mindset and in their energetic alignment with money and abundance when they really get serious about taking care of their money. Because while you're blocking it, like, that energy is all wrong. And if you're not willing to accept that, then you're just lying to yourself, right? So,
Yeah,
yeah, thank you
it's
for
another.
sharing that.
You're welcome. It's another way of giving yourself the illusion that you're doing something when the actual work is what you're avoiding. So it's kind of like, we avoid working out, or why do we, there's a whole psychology around why do we avoid the things that benefit us so much. And it's like, I can speak for myself. Physiotherapy exercises, I dropped off the wagon for the last 2 weeks. Yesterday I did them. I was like, wow, I feel great. I'm like, well, why didn't you do them for the last 2 weeks? I just have to turn that corner, make that shift,
Yeah.
In terms of the time factor question, you can't afford not to make time for these habits. And because they will actually give you more time in the long run. I'm not a habit professional, but if you pick up work by James Clear, again, look at the work of Joe Bendel, a few other folks that I've followed and or worked with, really, you can't afford not to make that time for yourself because it actually gives you back tenfold what you put in. So that spiritual
Mm.
practice of mine, started with literally 5 minutes drawing 3 angel cards going, oh, I think this is how I feel today. And then over the past, I think almost 10 years, it's grown to a non-negotiable 20 to 30-minute practice because I see the value. I just get up earlier. No one else is up. The dogs are still sleeping. So is the husband usually. So I just get up and I'm like, okay, this is my time.
Yeah.
I'm trying to work in a new non-negotiable of of 10 minutes of silence after lunch.
Nice.
So
Nice.
that's my
Yeah,
next.
that morning alignment, like getting yourself in a really beautiful aligned place first thing of each day, to me as well, completely non-negotiable, because it's like, do I want an easy, smooth day where I have
Yes.
clarity and things flow? Or do I want a day where I'm constantly battling and feeling like I'm behind? And it's like, why would you make things harder for yourself?
Yes.
So the other bit you talked about is how you're implementing the end of day review. So what are some of the things that you really get out of that end of day review that make you a better business leader?
So I had an end of day review practice for a long time. And then again, it dropped off with a few other things. It's okay. Things come and go. And I've been inviting it back in for the last month. And what's interesting is I'm actually getting the support of some AI through this. And so I've been experimenting working with an AI chat accountability. It's a very specifically you can't. It's being built for me. I was a beta tester, and out of that end of day review, it asks me what my top 3 priorities are. So I put them in. It's got a few other parameters around things that I want to achieve that day, like drinking enough water, doing my physio exercises, those kinds of things. And then with my end of day review, it provides me a summary of the things that I accomplished because I report in. They're like, oh, how's it going with this? Oh, I've finished this. Did you connect with clients today? Yes, I did. Fantastic. And it provides me some affirmations or some other positive, like uplifting. So with the help of this AI bot, it's bringing me new energy into this end of day review. And so, what it brings me as a business owner is affirmation that what I'm doing matters, and that so often we don't count certain things of what we do in our business. We're like, oh, yeah, no big deal. Oh, yeah, no big deal. But if you can't track those little things, then when it gets to say the end of the month or even the end of the year, when you're trying to do an annual review or bringing your money together for your taxes, you don't actually have a full picture of like, holy crap, I changed people's lives. I worked with this many clients. I made a difference. I did my physio exercises and I had better posture for it. That is where the end of day review, that granular practice, really does support a bigger picture towards your goals. You can have your, like, what's your North Star? Oh, great. It reminds you of your North Star and go, what's your intention for today? Keeping in mind that this is your North Star. So it's a practice, but it's a powerful one.
I love that you have an AI bot accountability coach. That is really cool. That is so cool. And my brain is ticking over going, okay, how can I do something like that? Because I think one of the things that, as you were talking, that really stood out is, it's so easy to get to the end of the day and go, oh, I didn't get to that. I didn't do that. And, I'm always great at thinking things will take a lot less time than they actually do. And so it's a great way to have that affirmation at the end of the day to go, no, you actually did some really valuable work. That's part of the greater body of the change that you are creating in the world and for your clients, right? So it's constantly kind of, I guess, mirroring back the value that you're creating and how valuable the things you just did are, and keeping you on track, right?
It keeps you on track, and the nice thing is it resets every day. So it doesn't keep a running summary of your weeks or months. It's up to you to do that. So it's your daily sort of coach slash accountability cheerleader. And then it's up to, like, I save it in Asana. I have a specific place for my end of day reviews, and I save each one that it gives me. And then I'm going to do my November review probably this weekend because it was a busy week. And I'll get to look back on that, all the November end of day reviews, and be like, oh my God, look at everything I accomplished. So it's working with it for the past month, just like you, has really taught me that I have a much different idea of what I can actually accomplish in a day than what I can actually do. So it's helped me with time management and helped me to refine and prioritize, where I want my time and energy to go, especially as a business owner. It really does help with alignment. And that has, just reflecting over where I was 2 months ago or even 3 months ago versus now, so different. So different.
Mm. I was going to ask you a final question, but instead I'm going to ask you a second to last question.
Okay.
And because I said to Jen before we started recording, the trickiest part is going to be keeping it concise. Because, once you get talking, it's like, oh my God, there's so much good stuff here. So the question I have for you is alignment. We've been throwing that word around a lot and I talk about it a lot. Tell me what alignment means to you and what it feels like. Like, how do you know you're in alignment and what's it actually all about?
Oh, okay. So I'm going to answer that last question first. Alignment is about flow, flowing easily from one thing to the next. And if you come into like a big boulder in your path, then just like water, you flow around it. There are other ways, and the obstacle is showing you a different route. So alignment is working with that flow that's already there. And as the saying goes, if it feels like you're swimming upstream all the time, it's probably because you are. So you're not actually turning around to look at the rest of the landscape and go, oh, the river's this way. Oh, that's alignment. And so many other things. You can apply this word generally to all aspects of your life. You look at the wheel of life aspects, and sometimes there's flow and sometimes there's not. It's okay. It's navigating those pieces. First, what was that first part of the question?
The first part was, what does it feel like for you personally? How do you know I'm in alignment?
It feels easy. It feels very uplifting, and I'm going to say satisfying. Things are just flowing. Like we talked briefly before this about some family stuff I'm negotiating right now. And, I have enough tools in my experience to be able to navigate this reasonably well. And I am well supported if I don't have the tool. And that for me, that's the alignment piece. If you're coming up against something really sticky, then make sure you have the tools, someone who has the tools, or at the very least you have some friends and family around you who can support you through the sticky thing. So I feel aligned through this family business because I have all those things in place. That's how it feels. It feels safe, honestly. Alignment feels safe. And that's, awesome. I think people don't have a sense of safety very often. And doing those practices has set me up for this place of safety and alignment.
And it's that lack of feeling safe that makes us do all sorts of weird shit that really don't serve us very well. All right, now final question for you. Jennifer Lang, if you had a billboard, what message would you put on it for the world?
Oh, I agonized over this question. I'm like, I don't know. You are exactly where you need to be and keep aiming higher.
Oh, goosebumps. I love it. I think you nailed the answer to that one. This has been the most amazing conversation. Thank you so much. I knew you would bring so much gold to it. Just before I let you go, can you please tell us if people want to get in touch with you, find out more? What's the best place for them to start?
Start with my website, probably is the easiest. It's JenLang, JenLang.com. Very straightforward. I have a beautiful love letters list that's free. I send out every week or two whenever the inspiration strikes. And I think you have my social links, so they should probably be in the show notes. So that's another place you can connect with me on Instagram and on Facebook. But again, I'm kind of sporadic on those platforms. And if you're in the Victoria, BC or South Vancouver Island area, just look me up and look for the next event that I'm hosting.
And we've also got a link for people to get a free download. Can you just talk about that?
Yes, I believe I offered the posture, breath, and voice meditations.
I believe you did.
I believe I did, yes. And those 3 meditations, interestingly, I recorded those more than 5 years ago, and they're still relevant and powerful today. So that's why I've kept them. They are just ways for you to begin connecting with your voice through posture, breath, and voice. So I strongly recommend doing them in order. Again, you can get them through the link through Miriam, through my website, and I'd love to connect with you. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Jen. That was such a great conversation, full of gold. If you've enjoyed listening to this episode, Wherever you're watching, if you're able to leave a comment, please tell us what your biggest takeaway is from this conversation. And once again, thank you, Jen. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you so much. See you soon.